Good evening. Welcome to Sick and Wrong, the world source for antisocial commentary. I'm your host, D. Simon. You might have remember from last week. Harrison is actually not on the show this week. Harrison is, I want to say he's on vacation, but he's not actually on vacation. Harrison's doing he's kind of doing an international tour right now. He's following the show. I guess he's a huge fan of the show Puppetry of the Penis. Have you ever heard of that?
I love that show.
Yeah.
I've watched... okay. As far as I'm aware, that actually originated in Australia.
Did it? Like I am not surprised.
Maybe not the show itself, but like the art known as puppetry of the penis. Apparently, this is what I was told.
So he's some Aussie that drank a shitload of Fosters. It's like, I can move my penis
They did it during the war.
Oh, they did it. Wait, during
in the trenches in World War One, some dude figured out he must have had a long enough dick. He figured out I can do all this funny shit with my dick and entertain all the other lads. And it became this art form that got passed down.
Wait, so from generations in Australia. So wait, the show...
Not like I'm a tailor and I'm going to teach my son to be a tailor. Not that kind of thing. But it was like this...
You don't become an apprentice to learn how to...
No, it was more this like this... not like an urban legend, but like this thing. Oh, there was a guy in the trenches who did this thing, and then the next person who would do it learned about it, and from that person, and then it got passed on.
So, do you guys have regular television in Australia, or do you just watch guys do puppet shows with their dicks?
I mean, it depends where you live.
That Australian voice you're hearing right there is my guest on the show today, male porn performer.
You can call me a porn star.
Porn star, Stirling Cooper. Thank you, Sterling, for being on the show, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
So yeah, as I was saying, Harrison is really into puppetry of the penis. I don't know if he's as into it as you are, but he's really into it. He's written some fan fiction, and he's been volunteering as like, I don't know, like production coordinator or something. So I guess they have a few dates in Europe, and he's just kind of, he said he was going to Malta, but I don't know if he's following the show in Malta, but he's super into it. I'm a little nervous that he might just take off with the show and maybe become a puppeteer.
A penis puppeteer.
A penis puppeteer. I'm a little nervous and not come back to Sick and Wrong, so hopefully he'll be back next week.
Don't ruin his dreams, man.
That's the thing. I don't want to be like, I don't want to block his dreams. I don't want to stand in the way of his career fulfillment. But, if he wants to become a penis puppeteer, he's more than welcome to.
Well, can you tell him to ask if what I just said is true?
Oh, about the origins, the history of...
Because I really want to know if that was true.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised. I could see Australians being really into that kind of thing. I'd see that like being like top-notch entertainment over there, especially in Adelaide.
What else are you going to
do? So anyway, yeah. So filling in today is Stirling Cooper is going to be on the show. Thanks for being on the show, man. It's not often that we get to have male porn stars on the show.
Well, so we're not really seen very much. When you think about it, like 90% of my job, I'm filmed from like the nipple down.
Well, that's the thing. They don't want to see your face.
No one sees my face.
Yeah, you just want to see your dick inside a vagina.
No, the joke I make to my friends back home, because I have this tattoo on my forearm here, and so I tell them, look, they always ask me like how the last thing they want to see is me if they're jerking off to porn. And I say, look, if you see this tattoo, then you know you're watching my dick.
Okay, because they would. There's no way they would know.
Exactly, because they're not seeing my face, but they can see my arm stroking it. Right.
That's probably why male porn stars don't make as much money, probably as female porn stars, because you're not really even showing your face.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the gay industry they make a shitload more.
Oh yeah, I guess they. Oh, so gay porn stars make more than just like straight porn?
Gay porn stars, as far as I'm aware, the gay porn stars make about the same amount as female porn stars make in straight porn.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
I figured it was just easier. I mean, there's like so many guys that would be down to do it, but probably not many guys that can actually do it.
Yeah.
I think that's probably like most guys would be like, fuck yeah, I'll have sex with them. But when it comes down to like when you got the cameras on and like you're sitting there, it's like, I can't do this.
It is totally different. It's like because you hear so many dudes who are like, oh, I could be a porn star, blah, 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 blah. And it's like if there's one consistent thing I see is that the moment a dude gets an ego, if a guy comes onto a set with an ego and like talking a big talk, guaranteed his dick's gonna fucking flop. Guarantee it.
Yeah, but because I mean it's mostly mental. I mean you have to be in the mental state to make it happen.
You'd be shocked how many male porn stars, you think of everyone has this like image of a male porn star being, or probably have this image of them being like arrogant and egotistical and blah blah blah. The number of male porn stars who meditate would shock you.
Wow, they're just like into new age kind of meditation.
They don't drink. They exercise regularly. They're not out there doing cocaine because their dick won't work if they're doing cocaine.
Yeah,
right?
I guess you have to. You probably have to maintain a certain level of like stamina and health and
mental health. Like you've got to be able to be present and like because you got to block out all this other shit.
Yeah, I mean you got to block out cameras and but 10 people watching you
while simultaneously being aware of it because you got to know where the camera is.
Oh yeah.
So you're working for the camera,
and that's the other thing too. That I've never understood about. Well, I guess it would definitely affect my performance. I can honestly tell you, I wouldn't be able to do it. But it's like you got a camera guy like in between your legs,
over your shoulder more often than not. He's like
it's usually over your shoulder,
getting the point of view shot. If you're getting blown,
how do they do the behind the balls shot?
They just get behind your balls. It's exactly as you imagine.
That's got to be kind of weird, isn't it?
A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you get used to it.
You know, as long as your testicles aren't hitting the lens, I think you don't really notice.
So you came straight from the set today, right?
Yeah, I was just on set. I didn't have sex today. I was just today. I'm filming a feature this weekend, and I was I fucked yesterday. I fucked tomorrow. Today I was just doing dialogue.
Oh, so you just came in there. So is there like an actual? I mean, when you say a feature, is it an actual movie?
It's a feature film. Yeah, it's a movie.
I didn't know they still did that.
Like, they still do a lot of that. Yeah.
I thought it was all like tube sites, like just clips.
That we call that gonzo, where if it's like a couch, two people fucking, and when a camera following them around, that's what you call gonzo porn. There's still a lot of that, but there's also a ton of stuff where it's lots of dialogue, wardrobe, like set changes.
Like sets. Is this like themed, like medieval themed or Roman themed?
This is not. This is actually part 2 of a movie I did the movie back in May or April, I think. And it's kind of like. So in part 1, I played this lawyer whose marriage was struggling, and like my wife at the time in that movie was like, "I can fix this. We'll start swinging." That's how she.
That always helps.
That never went wrong ever. So in that movie, like we hire a hooker who happened to be Angela White.
Oh yeah, Angela White. Yeah.
Another Australian, biggest porn star in the world right now. Well, one of them, at least. So we had a threesome with her, and then like, we go to like a swingers party, and she gets like spit roasted by these 2 dudes, and then she gets jealous at me for like talking to another girl at this party or something. It's pretty weird. A woman wrote the script. So
my character.
You'd be like, I'm like, why are you angry? You just got 2 dicks in you at the same time. What's there to be angry about? But then this is what we're filming this week, and it's part 2, where like my character is like having like a midlife crisis, and I've gone from being this lawyer who wears suits and ties, and I go on like an ayahuasca trip in Peru, and I come back and I'm like dressed like a
like the Big Lebowski.
I'm dressed like a hipster. I'm dressed like a hipster. Now. Yeah, and I end up like hooking up with a couple of the people. My wife divorces me.
Oh wow, yeah, this is like a serious movie.
Yeah,
whatever happened to like the funny, the funny
we shoot those as
kitschy '80s porn stuff.
This is for a website. This is for Erica Lust, who's like a very female-friendly, like kind of feminist porn producer.
Feminist.
I wouldn't even call her a feminist porn producer, but it's very female-orientated. So there's less shots of like when they're filming the sex. There's less shots of like dick and vagina, and more shots of like the 2 of us close together in embracing in passion.
Intimate scenes. So no like behind the ball shots.
None of that. No one's getting behind my balls on that set.
How many scenes do you typically do in a day?
Oh, I only shoot one sex scene a day.
So just one sex scene?
I only pop once a day, yeah.
And how long does it take to do the scene?
Average day, I'm like, an average shoot, I'm there from like 10 a.m. till 6 p.m.
Oh, so it's a full day.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, some shoots I'm in and out in like 2-3 hours.
But, really how long are you actually having sex? Like, does it stop and start, stop and start?
Yeah, also what happens is you do, like, typically you do the sex stills first, so the photos. So whenever you browse to a porn site and you see like the photographs that sort of try to sell the scene for you, that's done separately to the filming part. It's not they're not shooting photos while you're fucking on camera. You fuck and you do it like standing still so they can take the photos.
And you gotta sit there with like a hard on
and just like you get a couple of pumps in, and the cameraman's like, all right, and you like hold it, snap, and snap, snap,
and they take,
and then you pump again. You get a couple of pumps in, and then like, all right, next position. Hold it, boom. So you go through that, and that's how you kind of like plan out what you're going to do in the scene.
Oh, so wait, there isn't like you don't have like a script where it says you got to do, doggy style and then switch?
Not really. Like, there's a couple of... Sometimes you'll get scripts which sort of like will say, we want to see this one particular position because it's thematic with like whatever the porn is about, right? But 99% of the time, you have free reign as the performer yourself.
So, but do you work it out with the actors?
You work it out with your co-star and with like the director and with what furniture you have. That's primarily. That's the primary logistically. Yeah. That's what you got to deal with. So like on Thursday, I had to fuck on like a hospital bed. Like, I was a doctor and I had to figure out all that.
Were you a gynecologist?
No, I was the father of this girl's friend.
Oh, so that wasn't
my daughter's friend.
Oh, okay.
So I was fucking got like leaning into like the whole family.
Almost
thing,
like the family.
But not quite.
That's such a big genre of porn now.
It is weird.
Why?
I don't know. For once, I would like to go to set and have sex with someone my own age. Or have sex with someone I'm not related to.
Yeah. Why do you think the incest porn thing is such a big deal?
I have not a goddamn clue.
And it's only been the past 3 years?
Probably 8.
Oh, past 8 years, it's become a thing?
Probably the last 8 years, the trend is like up.
I mean, if you turn the volume down, you wouldn't even know.
You wouldn't know.
Yeah,
you've got no idea.
But it's just like the premise. I mean, how, in comparison to the porn scenes you typically do, how many do you think are incest related? Stepmom, stepdaughter?
I probably do at least 60%, 70% of the stuff I shoot is like,
Jesus,
I'm a stepdad.
The stepdad that comes in.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and then you're being seduced by the stepdaughter.
Maybe 60, maybe you probably, it's at least half. I'd say at least half. It's probably a bit too much, but at least half. I'm like the stepdad.
God, it's weird. Yeah. You know what my theory on it is? Divorce is so commonplace now. So this scenario is a real life scenario.
It's actually common. It's actually common. More common now than it would have been.
Like in the
20,
90s
30 years ago.
or something, yeah.
That's a fair, reasonable assessment, I think.
I think so. So tell me, you're Australian. Is there an Aussie porn scene?
There is.
Oh, really? There's where do they shoot it? Like
in Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Yeah. But the thing is, porn's in this weird legal grey area in Australia where it's kind of not legal to film it, but like you can. I think.
Can you buy it?
You can buy it. You can buy. You can buy like X-rated stuff, but to film it, like I might be completely bastardizing this as well. So please, no one like use this as a defense to the court of law. Or whatever, right? But I think the last time I got told like the actual legal situation, it was like you can only film in like Canberra, like the capital, the ACT, right? And you have to pay like a $5,000 filming license to film. So everyone's basically going, well, fuck that, and they just shoot out of Airbnbs in Melbourne.
Oh, so they don't actually have studios or anything like that?
No, they just rent an Airbnb, get a fucking camera, and film it. So there's only like a couple... But the thing is, there's only a couple of quote-unquote companies in Australia that actually shoot boy-girl porn. So like when I actually got my first break in Melbourne, shot my first few scenes, I probably shot in 6 months living in Melbourne, I probably only shot like 10, 12 scenes. I'll do like 15, 16 in a month here now.
Well, Los Angeles.
It's Los Angeles. It's the Mecca. And I'm new here, too. Porn, and I'm new here, and I'm shooting 15, 16.
Wow, so people that have been in it are just shooting, like, what, 20, 30?
Like, if you're young guys who can do it, who are really popular, will shoot 20 to 30 scenes a month.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, the big names are shooting 20 scenes a month. And the really good big names who are probably a bit younger are shooting 25 to 30.
I don't even have any... even when I was like 20, I didn't even have that kind of sex drive.
Yeah. I don't want to shoot any... Like, where I'm shooting right now is perfectly fine. I don't want to be fucking professionally more than like...
So what is the deal? Is it just in Australia it's just more difficult to shoot?
I don't know. It's like... the weird thing is prostitution's legal in Australia.
The whole country?
It's like decriminalized, you know what I mean? So like every state has different laws and regulations around it, but like it's totally fine. You can advertise it, you can...
Well, you're from Western. You're from Perth,
I'm from Western Australia,
and
it's totally fine there.
Wow,
they have legal brothels and everything.
So
but
like
porn is like you can't film porn. We're in here in America. It's the complete opposite. Yeah. It's like, well, you can't fuck in the privacy of your own home, but if there's a camera there, go right ahead.
I bet I grew up in South Africa. In South Africa, they called it blue movies, and blue movies were illegal. Yeah, so you couldn't buy porn there either.
Yeah,
so I didn't even really see porn until I moved back to this country. Yeah,
you poor soul.
I know. I didn't get to grow up with. Well, I'm sure now though with the internet, it's like how do you avoid it?
Yeah. Well, my first experience of porn was on my brother's computer, and it wasn't regular porn either. It was hentai.
Oh, it's hentai porn. Jesus.
Yeah, like fucked up Japanese comic book.
Yeah, that's like some hardcore shit.
Oddly enough, that's actually very heavily stepmother, stepsister, stepdaughter.
That's all incest porn too?
There's a lot of incest porn stuff. And this is back in like the 90s.
Wow. Yeah, I guess hentai
was like way ahead of the curve. Doing all the incest
They predicted
stuff.
this trend,
I guess.
Yeah. So how did you get into the industry? Like, when did you? Because you went to like uni and you had a career in science, right?
I have a double degree in chemistry.
In chemistry, yeah. Like, so what happened? You one day like, fuck this shit. I want to go get paid to have sex on film.
I'm not getting laid enough.
Yeah.
Wearing a lab coat.
Have you ever done any scenes wearing a lab coat?
Yes.
Yeah. So wait, so how did it happen?
Well, so I graduated uni. I worked as like a industrial chemist for a while, and then I actually got sick of that, and I ended up doing a couple of different startups. One that didn't do too well, and then one that did kind of decent, and I sold that, and then I sold that, and then got into porn.
But what made you get into porn, though?
The true story is I had a family member who was dying of cancer, and I for like a month straight. It was like, like when someone's dying, and when someone dies suddenly, it's like, oh, it's a shock, right? But when someone's dying of cancer, it's like, it's this inevitable thing.
Yeah.
You think about death a lot. So like I kind of spent an entire month just every morning I woke up and asked myself the same question. If I died tomorrow, what's the one thing I would regret having never done in my life? And every day for a month, porn was the answer that came into my head.
Wow, it was just like...
Weirdly enough.
That's
as far as I can explain it. Because like ever since I was a kid, it's kind of been my motive. Like the reason I wanted to start a business was because like in the back of my head, if I actually thought about it deeply enough, the back of my head was like, oh, I want to start a business. Why? So I can make lots of money. Okay, well, why? Well, so I can travel around the world banging hot chicks. What kind of hot chicks? Porn stars. Like that was literally what the thought process was.
So that was the driving force.
Yeah, like for years of my life.
To bang hot porn stars.
To bang hot porn stars my whole life. And I'm like, well, why the fuck don't I just cut the middleman out?
So then you just showed up at like an Australian porn company?
No, I knew a girl in Perth who had shot for a company in Melbourne, right? And I knew her through the swinging scene.
Oh,
so I was a swinger originally, and that's kind of how I made that first connection, and kind of also how I knew I would be comfortable fucking around other people. That was like a big litmus test.
That is, yeah, exactly.
It is very different, but it's still a good litmus test for any dudes who are like, I think I can do porn. Go to a swingers party first and see if you can be the center of attention for the whole party.
Yeah, if you have performance anxiety at a swingers party, you're probably not going to be able to do it.
You won't be able to
do
porn.
Cameras.
You'll never be able to do porn if you can't. Yeah, so she gave me like the email address for a director in Melbourne, and here's what I did. This is like the nerdiest fucking thing anyone's ever done in porn. So I got a couple of friends who I knew from the swinger scene, and I said, hey, do you mind if I film us fucking? And the only person I'm going to show it to is a director. And they're like, fine. So I had no idea what I was doing. I rented like a camera gear and some lights and shit, rented a hotel room, got these friends to come over. One of them fucking filmed.
Filmed an amateur porn.
And we filmed an amateur porn. Yeah. I was just banging this dude's wife. And I cut it up. I filmed the whole thing, got the footage, cut it up into little clips. Like, here's like blowjob, here's cowgirl, here's doggy style. Like, showing them all the different positions.
Wow. Yeah.
Showing them that I could like.
It's like a demo tape.
Basically, I made a demo tape for porn. And I sent it in to this director. And he replied back a couple of days later. It was like, this is the most professional application we have ever received. We're giving you a shot.
Yeah, it typically doesn't work that way.
It does not work that way.
Is it what I've read, or at least porn stars we've had on the show, said like their girl is in porn and she wanted to work with him.
That's how most male porn stars get in. That is how most of them get in.
Your girlfriend or wife or whatever works
or
in porn.
You have a really massive dick.
Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I don't have an enormous penis. In my opinion, I have a very regular sized penis, although it's kind of thick. Right? It's not very long. It's just kind of thick.
What is like the average penis size of a male porn star? Like, do they have a desired size?
Like, it's a lot easier if your dick is like 8 inches long or longer.
Okay, so it's easier 8 inches.
Because it's easier for you to like open up for the camera and they can see all the penetration. Right? My dick's only like 7 inches long. Right? And there's some dudes who only have who have 6 inch long dicks in this industry.
But they can be in porn with 6 inches?
Because they're really fucking good at what they do. right?
Well, what do you mean? They're just good at fucking, or
they're good at fucking
they're agile?
They're good at fucking for a camera.
Oh,
so they can open what's called opening the girl up. So basically, if I say opening up, it means like fucking in a way such that the camera guy who's on, over here can actually see
underneath your balls,
the dick going in and out,
Yeah. So you're saying like you can angle yourself, so you can see as much of the women
as
possible.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah. So I think most dudes in the industry are like somewhere between 7 and 8 inches long.
Oh, okay, so what
the guys who are like 10, 12 inches long, there's actually not that many of them.
Like Ron Jeremy, how long is that guy?
He's like 12.
He's like a 12.
He's a 12 inch.
Because like there's like John Holmes.
Yeah, he was massive.
Yeah, he was massive.
All the guys who probably all the guys who you can remember, you could think about, who are really famous. Those are the guys with the really, really long ones. But there's actually a ton of dudes who do like the grunt work, if you will, like who do a lot of the bulk of the scenes, who aren't like that fucking enormous.
Well, don't you think that part of the reason that they appeal to porn is you want something that's somewhat realistic? So when you're watching someone, I mean, I guess it depends on the type of porn. Like, I don't like to look at girls that are really fake, like with massive fake breasts and it's just noticeably fake. I like someone that looks a little more realistic, a little more authentic.
Well, there's this stuff for everyone.
But that's the thing. I mean, I'm sure some guys are like, I want to see a big, massive dick and like a
tiny girl.
A tiny girl,
like the extremities. I think that's probably another reason why the incest thing is popular, is because it's an extremities thing. Like older girl, younger guy, or vice versa, right?
So, how much do male porn stars earn on average?
You're looking at
per scene?
You're looking at like. So it depends how experienced you are. So like new guy, like nowadays, I can only speak for like right now, like 2019. New guys will sometimes get like $300-$400 a scene. Then like the more experienced you are, you get like right now I'm like $500-$600 a scene, depending upon the difficulty of the scene. So like some stuff is super easy. You walk in, you fuck, you're done. Other stuff is like lots of dialogue, lots of like setup, and you get paid a bit more.
You get paid more for like the weird, because you do kink.com.
And you get paid more for kink.com as well.
Yeah.
Because that is a longer day. There's a lot more involved. I have to know how to flog properly and how to choke someone properly and do all this stuff.
Yeah, so it's like you're like trained to do that.
Yeah. And like
it's a skill.
The kink directors are the ones who trained me up so I can do that.
Yeah, so at that point it's like you're a skilled performer.
Exactly.
It's not just like you're.
But like then you've got guys who are more in high demand. They'll be charging like $800 a scene, $1,000 a scene. And then sometimes like the contract performers, so there's some guys who are under contract with certain companies, but there's a few boys who are contracted to Brazzers, for example. They only work for those companies or those websites. They'll make anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 a scene.
Oh wow, so that's not
and they're contracted too, so they have to do a minimum of 20 scenes a month.
Wow, so $1,500. So
they're making some pretty decent money.
Money.
They're making good money to fuck the most beautiful women in the world.
Yeah, it's not that bad. I mean, if you could do it,
exactly. You can do it. But not everyone gets to that stage. Most people, like always, the what's the mathematical term? The mean or the median?
I think
whatever means like the most common data point.
Yeah, I think that's the mean.
So the mean time in porn for a female performer is 6 months.
Wait, so girls are only in it for about 6 months?
The majority of them.
Oh, that's interesting. Why did they just burn out, or
they get shot out? So like everyone shot them. They don't have a strong enough personality.
Okay. So at that point, it's like
everyone has shot them.
Okay.
And they don't have a strong enough personality or like a big enough fan following for people to keep demanding them. But then there's like the superstars like Riley Reid, Angela White, Joanna Angel. You big list of people who've been doing it for like 15, 20 years.
How much does like Riley Reid make for a scene?
That I couldn't tell you.
But like an actress of that caliber.
She'd probably be depends on what the scene is. She'd probably be pulling at least $2,000, I think. Well, maybe 1,500 to $2,000.
So a female starting out in porn,
she'll probably make $800 for a boy girl scene.
So $800.
A new girl, yeah.
What about like a lesbian scene?
Probably 600.
600.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But it depends. It really depends upon the girl, and it really depends upon the agent.
Huh?
A lot of this kind of stuff comes out of negotiation. And how well they can sell themselves, and if they've got some girls. A good example would be Nicolette Shea. She's a Brazzers contract star right now. In this day and age, girls can come into porn with a big Instagram following, and they can demand a shitload more money.
Oh yeah, but then now they can negotiate because they
they're pulling in all these fans who are desperate to see them naked.
Yeah.
So like Nicolette Shea was like, I think she had like
quite
a massive Instagram following, right? And then either she came to Brazzers or Brazzers came to her and were like, hey, let's do this. So she's a contract star with them. So she only shoots for their website. So now she's pulled in these millions of Instagram followers who are like desperate to see her naked and desperate to see her sucking dick. And the only place they can see that is at Brazzers.
Yeah, right? So I mean, it makes sense. So she's probably making what, like 5 a scene?
I don't know what
probably more.
I have no clue what she was making a scene. But it's sort of like that's kind of the way it works this day and age. It's a little bit different. Like before, it was like you do porn, you got popular. Now it's kind of like you're popular, and then you can do porn and monetize that.
Yeah, like Jenna Jameson and people like that. Like back then, you did porn, you became popular. Now you're like an A-list porn starlet.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that day and age is kind of gone now, right?
Yeah, that's the trend I'm seeing now, at least.
Was that because of mostly like because of all the free content, like the tube sites?
I think it's that. Yeah, and like Instagram.
Oh, and Instagram, yeah. So, well, now, I mean, that makes sense, though. I mean, you bring a following that's and all these guys are following these girls because they want to see them naked.
Exactly.
So that makes sense. So tell me about it. Let's talk about shooting a scene. So how do you mentally prepare for it? Like what if you're shooting with, or if you're having sex with someone that you're not even attracted to?
Well, that's the key. You find something about the girl.
Like, how often does it happen that you're just not attracted to the girl at all?
I can always find something.
Do you ever have sex with like a 400-pound woman?
Yep. Oh, not 400 pounds. 200. The biggest woman I've had sex with was 250 pounds.
Wow, 250 pounds.
Yeah. But I like curvy girls, so I'm fine with that.
What about a dwarf? You ever had sex with a dwarf?
No, I've had sex with some pretty short women.
Oh, okay,
but not
dwarves?
Officially a dwarf.
Well, like Bridget the Midget. Is she still doing porn?
I don't think so.
No, she's out.
I think she's out. I think she's retired.
But so you focus on one thing, like she's got a great rack.
Yeah. So like if it's a bigger girl, I'm 100% focusing in on the tits.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because I love tits. So it's like fucking bam. I'm not looking at like, she might maybe like some bigger girls, they have like
a belly, or whatever,
folds or whatever. I'm not looking at that. I'm not thinking about that. I'm focusing on the thing I find the most attractive.
Compartmentalize.
Yeah, you can
right on the tits.
And I'm not like a judgmental kind of guy either. So it's sort of like I'm not sitting there being like, ew, you've got a belly. No, I'm like, oh fuck, this part of you is so fucking gorgeous.
All right, what about like an 80-year-old woman?
The oldest woman I've fucked on camera was 60, I think.
Huh, that's not too bad, though.
But she had a gigantic pair of fake tits, so I focused on those.
Okay, so that, yeah. So you can focus on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad. So have you ever... so when you're going into a scene, you already know what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever, like, not been able to pop? Like, not been able to finish?
That has happened, and I've had times when I haven't been able to get hard. Like it happens to absolutely every male.
Even
performer.
Seasoned male performers.
Like not now they won't. If they're seasoned, they won't have the problem now. But early on in their career, I guarantee you, they had a time where they flopped.
So it's called flopping when you can't get it up.
Yeah.
So what causes that? Is it like anxiety, stress?
It's anxiety.
And then does it get worse?
It's anxiety. It's like you get stuck in this negative mental loop in your head, and it's like. The mind and body are integrally connected. You know what I mean? So like, if your brain is thinking, "Oh, I don't want to fuck this up. I don't want to fuck this up. If I fuck this up, my career's over. This is the worst thing that could possibly happen." The last thing, like, you're putting your body into like a fight or flight response. The last thing your body wants to do is get an erection.
Yeah.
Your body's like, "Well, we got to get the fuck out of here." Like your heart's right. Like that's your evolutionary brain is thinking like, "We're in
a fight or flight response.
We're in danger. Get the fuck out of here." Your heart's racing a mile a minute. It's not thinking time to procreate.
Yeah.
So
then how do you overcome that?
Meditation.
You just do you stop the scene and like
breathing.
I'm gonna go sit in
in
the
other
room?
If I have trouble, that's what I do. I stop. I for me it helps to be on my own, so I'll isolate myself in like a bathroom or something, do some breathing exercises, do some like meditation, get my mind back on track, and then once I'm in that state of like calm, I know my heart rate's gone down, my breathing's regulated, I'm calm, then I can go from there to thinking about like some go-to erotic thoughts and things that like kinks that sort of get me in the right place.
And then you're just like, I'm ready to go.
And then it's like back in the room, hot chick, bang.
Oh, okay, so then it works. I remember Ron Jeremy said he had like a specific grip that he did that worked every time.
Right. Some dudes that, like, because I'm circumcised, so I don't have the foreskin, right? So my dick isn't as sensitive as a dude with foreskin.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of guys, a lot of guys in this industry have foreskin, so they're like, it's a bit easier for them to sort of get themselves there just physically.
Because it's sensitive.
With me, it's a mental game.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, that makes sense. But do most guys use like Viagra or Cialis?
Oh yeah.
Everybody?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
not everybody. Not everybody.
No, really?
Not everybody.
Huh. But I mean, does it make it easier?
Oh yeah.
Like, do you usually use it, or do you?
Yep, I use it.
So you just kind of pop one of those, but Viagra.
What it does, it doesn't make. So here's the thing you got to know about Viagra. It doesn't make you horny.
Oh, it doesn't.
Viagra.
It's not like an instant boner pill.
No, Viagra keeps the blood in there. It doesn't make you horny. So there's a different So the thing that will give you an erection is being horny and having
having an
arousing erotic thought. That's what will give you an erection. Viagra will keep that fucker there longer than it should be.
Yeah, it always amazes me that like those guys back in the 80s, there was no Viagra back then.
Nope.
You know, and these guys
apparently they had fluffers apparently were an actual thing.
There were actual girls who would just fluff.
This is before the age of Viagra.
Okay, yeah, because now, I mean, that must have, like, changed everything.
And, like, you know, they had to, like... It was a totally different kettle of fish filming back then. Because you had to, like, load, like, a big roll of fucking film into the camera.
Yeah, and then you'd...
You know, it's a very different... If you go back... I actually love watching retro porn. That's one of my favorite things. I love watching that kind of... Like, with the bushes and, like, the hair.
Yeah, I like 70s bush.
Yeah, the grainy film.
Well, that's the first porn I ever jacked off to.
Love
you know, so it's kind of like, for me, it's nostalgic.
Yeah.
You know?
A nostalgic wank.
Nostalgic wank. It's a throwback wank. So, let's talk about, like, on set. Have you ever had, like, an accident on set? Like, I love porn bloopers when people, like, fucking, like, the girl falls off a fucking table or something, and it's just like, oh, shit. Or we were talking about this earlier where the guy, like, this girl's eating out this guy, and he totally just rips one. And she flipped out. I mean, it's a famous porn blooper online. But have you ever had an accident on set?
I was filming in England. I was filming on a riverboat, like a boathouse.
We were filming
it was weird.
Seems very English.
Yeah.
Sex on the riverboat.
Yes. And so basically, like, it was kind of a weird set too. Like, it was... The director was the first time she had ever shot porn, and all the other people on set, was their first time shooting porn. Like the camera guy, the audio guy, the lighting guy, the makeup person. No one else had shot porn except for me and the actress.
So were you like telling people what to do?
Basically, yeah. We're like, here's how this is going to work. Like, the funny thing was we got to set that day, and the audio guy, I just pulled him. I just had a conversation with him on the side, and he's like, "Man, have you read the script? It seems almost like a porno." He didn't even realize...
He didn't even know you were shooting a porn.
No, he had no idea until someone had to come... And I was like, yeah. And I had to go to the director. I'm like, he doesn't have a clue we're shooting porn. And she's like, oh, shit. And she got her assistant to go tell him that we're shooting porn. But anyway, that same set. So it's this riverboat, and it's England, so it's raining, or it's drizzling for like every day.
Like every day.
So the boat's kind of wet or whatever. And one of these scenes is like, I go down... This chick I'm banging is trying to sell me this riverboat. And so I'm supposed to go down these steps, like, from, like, the deck into the cabin bit of the boat. And the fucking ladder that I'm walking down is just this wooden ladder that's just sitting there on the ground. Like, there's nothing holding it in place. It's just like a ladder.
Just a ladder that's just up against
lean up against, like, a wall.
Yeah.
And it's been wet. So, like, we're rolling film, and I take one step, like, first step on the top of the ladder, and the fucking thing slides out from underneath my feet, and I uppercut myself with the roof of the boat.
Oh shit, dude!
Like,
I just fall you could have actually fucked yourself up with that.
Straight down in this hole, and bang!
Oh!
And I flop back onto the deck.
Would you split your mouth up?
Nothing.
What?
Not a goddamn thing.
Wow!
Like we're talking like, what is it in pounds? I'm like 190 pounds. 190 pounds times gravity straight onto my jaw, and nothing.
Didn't even get knocked out.
Didn't get knocked out. Didn't get a cut.
Wow.
It just hurt.
Yeah,
hell. Like the next day I couldn't like eat properly.
You didn't bite your tongue off.
Yeah, exactly. Super lucky. But then like the assistant director was like, "All right, he's dead." Like he was like he was in his mind he was just like, "Oh god, here go like what kind of insurance claims am I going to have to fill out?" He was convinced I died. I sat because I laid back for a couple of seconds like
kind of dazed.
And I just hopped up again and was like, "Ow." All right, sorry, next take. Like cut. Let's go again. And he's like, "Whoa. Take 5 minutes. You possibly have concussion."
Yeah, I was about to say, you probably were concussed. So, I mean, have you ever had it? Does it happen often that, like, you know, a girl falls off the chair when you're fucking? Or is it usually...
Not really. Well, not with me, because I hold on to them for dear life so they don't break my dick.
Oh, yeah,
because I've had a friend who's had his dick broken.
Yeah, we've had a guy on the show that had his dick broken. But that was, like, a combination of a lot of cocaine and Viagra.
It's
but I mean,
terrifying.
What happened? Did the girl
it's just when the girl it tends to happen when the girl is riding you.
Like she's on top.
She's on top in like reverse cowgirl is when it tends to happen, I think.
Well, because your dick is already...
your dick's kind of fighting against the way her pussy naturally bends, and if a girl comes up and down too fast and just
like
slams...
her pelvis
her whole pelvis slams into your dick and cracks it in half. Jesus
Christ. So what happened? Did the guy have to go have surgery?
Yeah. He put photos of it on fucking Twitter. It's like bright purple. Like a sweet potato.
God,
like
that must have hurt.
And he had like a fucking catheter shoved down it and shit. And now he's working again. But it bends a different way.
Oh, so it's
permanently got this kink in it because he broke it.
Well, I mean, think of John Wayne Bobbitt. Did you ever see his John Wayne Bobbitt Uncut?
No.
You know, Bobbitt got his dick cut off. He did a porn in the 90s called Bobbitt Uncut, and he was back, fucking again.
Really?
Yeah, the dicks are remarkably Brazilian organs.
Good for him.
Yeah. So what about, what's one of the grossest things that ever happened? Have you ever done an anal scene and just the girl ate a bunch of Taco Bell a couple hours early?
My dick has been shed on more times than I can count.
Are you so desensitized now it doesn't even faze you?
That does nothing to me at all. The girl is more freaked out about it than I am. I'm like, cut. We got a mess, and that's it. Baby wipe, a Kleenex, whatever. Wipe my dick off and go again.
Aren't you supposed to prepare
They do, but sometimes some shit happens, as they say, right?
So what happens? You're sitting there fucking scene, and all of a sudden it just shoots out.
No, it's not like a projectile poo, and it's not like a log. It's more liquidy.
Oh, okay.
It's like a brown liquid will come out. Because she will have prepared. She'll have the way girls prepare for anal scene typically is they don't eat for 12 hours before the scene. So the night before they won't have a meal, and then they'll douche their asshole out. Give their butthole an enema until the water runs clear.
And then they're ready.
And then they're like, okay, now I'm good to go.
But sometimes there's a little shit in there.
What happens? Sometimes you poke the bear, right? If you're fucking them a bit too deep, you might get to a point where they hadn't quite douched, or the poop's made its way down.
Oh, okay.
And so you're pulling it out. So, you pull it out
because you're stretching out the hole, so it's you
kind of loosened it up a bit, and it comes.
So, but I mean, if it's a Shiza film, then it's not a big deal.
Then it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But most of the time, they've cut every time I've done it. Well, that's not the grossest thing.
Okay. Wow. All right. What's the grossest?
The grossest. Well, at least for me, it was something about it was really fucking gross. We had this blowbang. So a blowbang is like a gangbang, but just blowjobs.
A blowbang? Is that like a bukkake scene?
Kinda. Yeah. Sure.
Oh, bukkake's everybody's sitting there jacking off.
So it was a group. It was 13 dudes and 3 girls.
Oh, okay.
And we're not fucking them. They're just sucking our dicks. Right?
You're just all standing around, and the girls are just kind of. Oh, okay. They go one guy to the next guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blowbang.
But the premise of this particular shoot was that we had to face fuck bananas, strawberries, and whipped cream into their mouths.
Who would be into that? I don't even understand that.
This was a custom film, so there was
someone ordered this.
Somebody custom ordered this.
That's some weird shit.
So there's at least one motherfucker. So we're all a group. It was just it got messy and all the whipped cream and stuff started getting in their eyes, and so these girls had bright red eyes because they were stinging like motherfucker because you got cream in your eye.
Whipped cream and
then there's just banana, squished banana and squished strawberry everywhere, and we're fucking on top of a tarp because we don't want to ruin this fucking house we're in. And then it's this is the unflattering thing about blowbangs in porn is you basically then form a conga line of dick.
Yeah,
to come on the girls. So 3 girls are there. It's all right, line up, and it's one dude ejaculate, next, ejaculate, next.
See, I can't believe you could do that on command.
It's not glamorous. Yeah. But the fucking best part about that day, at the very, very end, the last dude whose job it was to pop 12 other dudes have come on these girls' faces,
and there's covered in whipped cream, cum, bananas,
covered in everything. This dude is having trouble coming.
Yeah, I would be at that point.
He's sitting there, he's like, trying to get it off. And then he fucking, no shit, he slips on a banana. And just eats shit. And you can see, and I happen to be standing behind the monitor for the director, so I could see the camera saw. And so all the shot the camera gets is these three girls like, oh yeah, and then like the hand on the penis stroking, and then all of a sudden, whoop, the dick drops out of shot, and the expression on the girl's faces goes from like, oh yeah, to like, holy shit.
And then he just bites it in a bunch of bananas and shit on the floor. How do you recover from that, or do you just cut that guy out of the scene?
No, they gave him like 5 minutes, and he got back up and finished.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotta hand it to you. So, what have you ever done DVDA?
No.
Is that a real thing?
Yes.
It has been done. It has been shot. Work?
It has been shot.
But, I mean,
I've done double anal and double vag. So
you've done double anal. So I mean,
two dicks. My dick and someone else's dick are in a girl's asshole at the same time, and my dick and another dude's dick are in her pussy at the same time.
So that's like one guy's sitting down, she's on top, and then one guy's behind doing that. But how would you do it with another, like double veg, double?
2 more.
Yeah,
you need 4 dicks.
Yeah, it'd be 4 dicks. You need 2 in the ass, 2 in the.
Exactly. Well, there's a company in Europe called Legal Porno who do. As far as I'm aware, they're the only company in the world that does it. They do triple anal.
How is that even possible?
Well, it's really hard to explain using just the medium of voice. I'd have to draw you a diagram.
Yeah, I guess you drew a diagram.
But it's like one... how's the best way to describe it? Like, yeah, one dude's on the bottom. One dude's like, literally like on her back.
Okay, so
and his dick is like...
Where is she on her stomach?
She's... Yeah, so imagine that she's like... Imagine she's riding the guy on the bottom.
Okay, all right.
Right, but she's laying flat on his stomach, right? And then the dude on the bottom's in her ass. Then you got another dude on top of her back, basically, with his dick in her ass, right? And then you get a dude with a really long dick, and he goes in between the two.
Whoa!
And you're able to get 3 dicks in there at the same time. Apparently, the way they can do DVDA, I think they hold the girl up, or like have her on her side, and you got like one dude like here. One dude on top, and then the same one on their front. They've all got to have really long dicks. This shit is a logistical impossibility if you have like a 6-inch dick. It's just not possible.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to, in order to come in from
and
that,
even if
from
you
that
get
side.
in there, when the other dude's dick gets in it, you're popping out. There's not enough space.
That's got to be awkward.
Yeah. You get used to it. Like,
it's
just like the conga line of dick. You get used to it.
Yeah, you just kind of get used to it, so you don't even think about it. But I imagine the first time you're like, oh, this is just kind of weird. Yes. Like, just
it's a bit weird.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Like, I mean, obviously someone's into that kind of thing. Yeah. There's some whatever floats your boat.
Like when I'm doing like the double anal or double vag on a chick, like. I'm not focusing on the fact that my dick is right next to another dude's dick. I'm focusing on like how much it's getting her off.
I mean, does it? Is it even more arousing because it's like
fucking nuts?
Wow.
Yeah, somebody's going nuts over it.
Don't these girls? I've read some article where like they lose like the elasticity of their ring piece, so it's like eventually.
I've heard.
Is that true though? I mean, if you keep doing that,
I've heard that story, but I've also heard from like seasoned anal veterans. Who don't have that problem whatsoever.
And they've been doing it for years.
Yeah, they stick fists up their butt.
Seasoned anal veterans. So we gotta move on, but have you ever refused to do a scene? Like you're like, this is just too fucking weird. Like Max Hardcore type of shit.
No. Luckily I haven't been asked.
To do anything like that?
To do anything like that. Although like... I'll tell you what, if we're gonna wrap up, I've got to tell you one story. This is like probably one of the funniest things that ever happened to me on set. So, first time working for this new director, right? And it's just a blowjob scene, but it's like another blowbang. Sorry, so it's like
blowbang.
Another blowbang. There's all these stories about blowbangs. Those are the worst things ever. So the director's
do you guys
actually
hate that? Do you? If someone's
I hate them. They're the worst. They suck.
You're like, fuck, it's another blowbang, but it's $600
because it's not only are you sharing a girl with like a bunch of other dudes, you're sharing one hole.
Yeah,
it's okay if it's a gangbang. At least there's like 2, maybe 3 holes to go around. You get a bit of airtime. You know what I mean?
But it's just her mouth.
It's just the mouth. You just got to wait for the mouth. But anyway, so new director, very famous director. I won't mention his name, but he's in the blowbang as well. So it's him and then me and then 2 other dudes. And it's actually the director's wife is the one.
She's the one that's doing
the sucking of the dicks. But the thing is, this director was trying out a new assistant that day. So. And the assistant kept fucking up and kept like putting the light in the wrong spot, or putting this in the wrong spot, all that. And the director's just getting angrier and angrier and angrier as the day's going on. And so at one point, like the director's in the kitchen, with his shirt cocking, so his shirt on, no pants on, trying to get a fucking hard on, whilst he's screaming and yelling at his assistant. He's like,
God damn it, fix the lights over there.
For fuck's sake, Tony, will you stop doing that? You know? Trying to get a hard on. And so, like, we get through that first bit, and then we are all sitting, then we're supposed to be all, like, sitting down on a couch. And this director he's got this, like, those, like, triangular love pillows? It's like a wedge.
Yeah, the wedge. It's kind of like sex pillows.
Yeah, right? So he walks up, so us three dudes are here, like, ready to go. He walks, he's still pissed off, obviously. He's still pissed at this fucking assistant. Strolling in,
angry
like,
boner.
puts his fucking... Yeah, well, he's not got an angry boner. I think he would have been happier if he had an angry boner.
Had one, yeah.
So he puts this fucking, like, this love wedge pillow thing down at the end of the couch where he's going to be sitting. And then he's back in the fucking kitchen, like, getting pissed. He's like, for fuck's sake, you've been fucking up all day. And he's like, just fucking roll the tape. So he's like, he obviously can't get a hard on it because he's that pissed off. He's just fucking roll it because the assistant's filming it too.
Yeah.
So and he's looking at what the assistant's filming through the monitor. And then, like, the dude's go, like, the chick's going down the line of dick. And it gets to, like, I'm at the end, right next to where this wedge pillow is still sitting. And the assistant gets the wedge pillow in the shot, and the fucking director comes screaming into the shot, like storming in.
Still not wearing any pants.
Not wearing any pants. Storming in, grabs his fucking wedge pillow and throws it across the fucking set. He's like, for fuck's sake, why did you catch that Funnest day.
Did it ruin the scene, or were you guys laughing?
Not for us. We were trying. None of us had shot for him before. So and he's a really big time director, so we're like fucking trying not to laugh.
Yeah, but
so hard.
That's what I think would be one of the more difficult things for me. Is that, I mean, just in terms of like not to mention performance anxiety, it'd just be difficult for me not to laugh at how absurd it all is.
Oh, it is.
Like, you
ridiculous.
could somehow, like, compartmentalize that out too, right?
Yeah, like, it's okay. Like, it's okay when you have a giggle here and there.
But
not when you're laughing at the director.
Oh no! Then I can see him
idea.
just freaking out. So what about do most guys have, like, what's more difficult, maintaining an erection or or delaying an orgasm?
Maintaining the erection.
It is more difficult.
Yeah, 100%. That's the thing that's going to determine whether or not you get into porn.
As if you can keep hard.
Yeah, because you can like, if you come a little bit early, okay, the scene's a few minutes short, but at least you got a scene. If you can't get a hard on, you've got nothing.
But I mean, are there a lot of guys that just, like, prematurely ejaculate?
I've never seen it.
I mean,
I've never even heard of somebody.
What tips do you have for delaying orgasm? Like, do you think? Because I used to think of Seinfeld, the cast of Seinfeld, but not focusing on Elaine. I would just think of, like, I would just go through, like, Newman, Kramer. It's like, I'm not gonna come thinking of Newman, But then now it's been Kellyanne Conway. I will not come thinking of Kellyanne Conway.
Some guys count things in the room.
Oh, you count?
Like, count tiles, count, like, like the blinds on the windowsill, like, count stuff. Anything that's going to take you away from what's happening in front of you mentally. I breathe differently.
Oh, it's breathing. I've heard Sting says that from the police.
Right. So, like, I know, like, if I'm going to come, I breathe a certain way. Like, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you, but it's like, I just know the way I'm breathing in the moment, right? So if I'm trying to not come, I'll, like, slow down my breathing and breathe much deeper and focus on the breathing too, which also is taking my mind off the fact that this is gorgeous.
So you just focus on your breathing, and that will just, like, take
it takes the sensation away from the dick when I do that. Another way of doing it is if you get to the point where you think you're about to come, doing a Kegel or two.
Kegel, like squeezing your taint?
Yeah, squeezing your PC muscle, the taint. The muscle you use when you're pissing, the same thing you do when you stop yourself pissing midstream, that muscle. You squeeze that.
I thought that makes you, like, come even harder.
If you're squeezing it and holding it, you can stop yourself. Like, if you do it, you have to have, like, exercise that muscle, as in you do Kegels pretty regularly, which is one thing that most porn stars do.
Most porn stars do Kegels, right?
Because it makes it makes your boner stronger, and two, it makes your ejaculation bigger.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Kegels are like a sex fucking secret.
Huh.
Superpower or whatever. So, like, just do Kegels, like, every day.
All right, I guess I learned something today.
But you can also, if you're about to ejaculate, and you can even, like, if you have a really strong PC muscle, Kegel muscle, you can actually stop the flow of ejaculate coming out of your dick. But it also works to sort of stop the sensation.
But I mean, do you clench it and hold it, or do you just clench it really?
You're clenching it and holding it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's like
and that can just stop you from coming. But will it kill your boner though?
It might make it go a little bit softer, but you're trying to not come. So
well, that's
you're not going to have a problem getting a boner again.
Yeah,
you're kind of on edge.
I guess if you're wow, Kegel muscles. Yeah, if you think too much about Kellyanne Conway, you'll kill the boner. So you got to just kind of picture her. And then
I'd recommend counting the tiles.
And counting tiles might work better. So with cum shots, we get back real quick. With cum shots, we had a guy on that was saying that oftentimes they use Cetaphil.
Yes.
To show, is that true?
That's for the photos. I am ruining
for the
this
photos.
for everyone who's ever watched or ever looked at porn.
Yeah,
so whenever you see a still photograph of porn of the cum shot, that is Cetaphil.
Oh, it is Cetaphil. So that's But I mean, do guys typically have that much cum come out?
I do.
Yeah, it's like you can have, but I mean, what do you do to like get that much cum? Do you have to like fucking eat a certain amount of like pineapple or something?
Zinc. Daily zinc supplements helps increase your testosterone production. It's about testosterone production and like semen production.
Oh, that's what it does.
So zinc helps. Drinking plenty of water helps.
Oh, okay. Being hydrated.
Yep. It depends upon what nutrients you might be deficient in, but like having mixed nuts tends to help. Because nuts tend to be like full of lots of different vitamins and minerals. So like it's kind of a good way of getting a good healthy way of getting like natural oils and minerals and vitamins in you. So I like to eat like cashews, Brazil nuts, almonds, like all that sort of stuff. Yeah, and Kegling.
And Kegling. God, it all comes down to the Kegels.
Makes it explode.
It all comes down to the Kegels. All right, so we got to get out of here. Thanks for being on the show. This has been fascinating.
Thanks for having me.
You had mentioned that you're working on a device that lengthens the penis.
I'm working on a book.
A book about it.
A book on not just lengthening the penis, but it's so I'm basically like writing a manual on like how to be a male porn star.
Okay, like a guidebook.
Basically, a guidebook.
Our audience would love that.
Because like what the most common message that me and other male porn stars get on our Instagram DMs and our Twitter DMs is, how do I get into porn?
Yeah,
and how do I fuck like you? Right?
Yeah, that's common. It's funny that someone would even be writing you. I mean, it's like, why not?
And female porn stars get that too. They go how do I get into porn? Blah, blah, blah. Well, so like this book is literally going to break down, not just like, it's going to break down how to get into porn. So like talking about stories about like my story, how I pitch people, how I pitched directors, how other people got into industry, like the different ways people get in. Then like how to fuck like a porn star. So how to make sure you have good blood flow, strong erection.
Kegels,
this sort of stuff. How to make your ejaculate, your cum shot bigger, that kind of stuff. Like how to actually fuck for the camera.
Oh, wow, like positioning.
Yeah, positioning. And then it's going to talk about...
how to do a DVDA scene.
Maybe, we'll see. But the big part of it is going to talk about how to lengthen your dick. And how to, like two things. One, how to lengthen a dick, how to increase its girth as well, and how to get your foreskin back if you happen to be circumcised like me.
So wait, we had a guy who came on the show, and he had like a device he made. I forget what the name of it, but it was like, he was an intactivist, and he was like, you restore your foreskin.
I think that's the device I have bought.
Oh, I wonder if it's the same kind of deal.
It sounds like the guy I bought it off he's pretty evangelical about it, and I'm on board with it now too.
This dude was hardcore.
I don't think anyone should be cutting off foreskin.
Yeah, I mean,
I know you're
Jewish,
right?
But you know what's funny? That show that we did, we had that guy on, so we had a counterpoint, that guy, and then we had my father on, who was a rabbi.
Right.
And my father was just like, it's a covenant with God.
Yeah, like that's like you can't really argue with that, because it's like you're not gonna make a logical argument against a religious belief like that. But for anyone else who might possibly be able to be persuaded, there's a strong argument for leaving a dude's dick intact.
Well, yeah, and also it's like, is there a reason really to like mutilate your kid?
Exactly.
I mean, I understand like you don't have to deal with smegma, which is kind of nice.
Just learn to wash your dick.
Learn to wash your dick.
Just peel it back and wash it.
Yeah,
like it takes 2 seconds, and your dick is a lot more sensitive.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a good thing.
You get
but like, yeah, so there's actually like, and this is a thing that people don't like. I don't know how it's not mainstream knowledge that you can actually like I've lengthened my dick by at least an inch.
You by stretching it out?
Yeah. So before I got into porn, I was under 6 inches long, and now I'm 7 inches long.
So you stretch it out. So wait, hard or just like flaccid?
That's the flaccid. That's the erect length.
So you actually increase your erect length.
I stretch it when it's flaccid. I do the exercises and things when it's flaccid, and that translates into erect length increase.
Yeah, God, that's crazy. I didn't even know that was physically possible.
Yeah, it's totally. It's like what is it?
It's almost like body alteration, like stretching gauging your ears.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's like and there's an African tribe where they with
your necks. Yeah, it's like right? Body mods.
It's very similar to that because it's like it takes a long time. It took that 1 inch took like 12 months.
So for every day you were doing the exercises.
Every other day, like once every 3 days. Like I'm not going to be 100% consistent every day. So some days I might do a bit more exercises than the next day. But it's like as long as you're doing it consistently, you'll see the results. And the weird thing is, this stuff's actually been published in PubMed. Like they've actually done medical studies
on stretching
using different devices,
dick stretching,
and shown that in like 6 months they average this much length increase, etc.
So is your book going to come with a device?
Yeah, my book it'll have like the different devices that I use as well.
And so you get the book, get the device. When's this? So you're working on it right now.
Yeah.
So when this comes out, you definitely have to come on the show.
I would love to.
I
can give you a live demo if you want.
I think I'll pass on that, but but I do think our audience would be into that.
Well, good.
That's something some people want to figure
it's sort of
out.
weird. Like it's like chicks can get a tit implant, but there's nothing for dudes.
Yeah, I don't think there is anything
because you've probably heard of penis enlargement surgery. The problem with that is it actually doesn't increase your erect length. What they do is they take a scalpel and they cut
extra skin, right?
No, they cut the ligaments. So there's 2 ligaments that attach your dick to your pubic bone. What they do is they just cut those, and so it flops out. But it doesn't actually change the length of the member. It just hangs lower, so like you look longer flaccid, but it doesn't change the erect length. So there's no actual.
Yeah, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. It's for being in like the shower room and like making it look like you got a bigger dick.
So if you're at the gym or something,
exactly right.
You're nervous about that.
But chicks can go out and get a boob job, get a new. We can get nose jobs too, whatever, or Botox stuff. But like,
God, I'm surprised.
It's nice. I want more men to know that hey, if you're not actually happy with the size of your dick, you can actually do something about it.
Yeah. I mean, you can do it. That's fascinating. A lot of people wouldn't know that.
There you go.
Anyway, Stirling, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
It's a lot of fun chatting with you. And now I got a new concept when I see a blowbang. Now I know the pain that goes into that scene.
I'm sorry to have ruined it for you.
Follow Stirling on Twitter at Stirling Cooper X. That's STIRLING Cooper X. Also, you can follow him on Instagram at Cooper Stirling. People, this is episode 700 here at Sick and Wrong. We have news stories coming up next, and we actually have special guest host Danny, who's been on the show before, and Lee from the Gadsby's England football podcast. They're going to be helping out doing stories with me, and then we have some phone calls after that. But first, here's a word about our Patreon page.